Alright, William Owen here for another Afterplace video. And I am a bit late on this. It's from June 5th, but I had other stuff that I had to do. But anyway, after Afterplace just won the Apple Design Award, Even Kais, the sole developer of the game, did an interview with Apple. Titled Behind the Design, Afterplace. And I wanted to read this because there's a few nice pieces of artwork in that article and a few nice info that people might not have heard about before. So let's get this started. Let's read this article. I'm not a big news reading article person, but I thought this one was quite fitting for the channel. So anyway, let's get started. At first glance, Even Kais' Afterplace appears to have time-traveled from the late 80s. It's a 2D top-down pixelated adventure game full of blocky characters, blippy music, and retro typefaces. If you were ever into the games of the era, I definitely was, and Kais very much was, it feels like a delightful visit from an old friend. I grew up on those games, says Kais. I was always carrying them around, and I was also the kind of kid who'd look at a manhole cover and think, that is definitely the entrance to a dungeon. Yet, for all its nostalgia, Afterplace is a decidedly modern game too. It's fast, fluid, incredibly easy to pick up, and features a surprisingly huge map. Its characters look like 1999 but talk like 2023, especially the sarcastic vending machine that dispenses random jokes and the friendly rabbit that provides advice. For instance, if you think something's going to attack you, don't be there anymore, like, move away. Yeah, the humor in Afterplace is pretty nice. Alright. It's especially impressive when you realize that Kais is the game's sole designer, developer, and artist. He began making video games at age 11, studied software engineering in college, and took a few game design courses. But mostly he taught himself along the way. Honestly, I just watched a lot of tutorials, he says. YouTube is how I learned art, sound, music, and basically everything that wasn't programming or game design. So now you can see here, Even Kais with his cube, which is the trophy for the Apple Design Award. Congrats, Even. Well deserved. The game is also brilliantly designed for mobile, with one-finger controls that make it easy to explore, tap to interact with an object or slash your way out of trouble, or tap and drag anywhere on the screen to move around. In fact, one of Kais' earliest design decisions was to lean on touchscreen interaction paradigms, how do you say that word? Paradigms, instead of drawing controls on screen. I was never a fan of virtual buttons or D-pads, says Kais. I've played a lot of those kinds of games and often ended up going in a direction I didn't want to go, and I personally enjoyed being able to play with one thumbs while standing in line somewhere. That drive for simplicity also informed the interactions between hero and enemy. Some games have simple enemies but a complex you, he says. Afterplace has a simple you but complex enemies. Whenever you walk up to something, you have to say, what is this guy's gonna do? I gotta figure this out. That's your whole job. You're not worried about doing double backflips because you're too busy trying to not get smashed in the face. Enemies lurk everywhere in Afterplace's massive world. Levels stretch out in all directions. What looks like a humble library is secretly a multi-level maze. I always loved it when a game just kept going, says Kais. I was fascinated by the idea that a game could hold an entire country. He was also fascinated by vintage heroes and villains. All the characters in Afterplace are the same resolution as the characters in my favorite childhood games, he says. I really loved those characters, but they were just static images. They faced 4 directions and had a blank stare on them. As a kid, I would think I would love if they did anything more than stand in place and say one line of dialogue. Inspired, he challenged himself on Afterplace to see how expressive that vintage resolution could be. Turns out they're pretty expressive, he laughs. Yeah, indeed. I love how the main character, Yu, closes his eyes when he slashes his sword, or the terrified look on Joxy's face is quite amazing. And here we have some sketch drawing, and even if you're listening to this, we need that in the game. The game should feature a bonus section, like once you finish the game, could have access to a image gallery where you could show a bunch of early design stuff and the drawing you made. I looked at this image for quite a while actually. This is amazing. I want to see more of that, please. Dude, I would pay for a DLC that gives us some bonus images. Like seriously, just do it. Afterplace's expressiveness comes through in its clever dialogue, like the character who encourages players to be more strategic in their attacks by saying, "You wouldn't imagine how many dunderheads just keep swinging away at monsters." The game's music, which Kais wrote and performed, starts in an 8-bit style but expands to become more orchestral later on, a trick he picked up from the game Undertale. If you start out the game with a retro sound, then later break out the string quartet or horror violins, it has a lot more impact, he says. The rest of the game has maybe 3 melodies in it. I'll pretend that's because I'm a cool designer using leitmotifs, but it's actually the maximum number of melodies I could think of. Never a fan of intro cutscenes, Kais designed Afterplace's onboarding to get players right into the action. I love story in games, but I almost skip those introductions. I'm just not invested yet, he says. Very true, a game that starts with 20-minute cinematics is not that great. You don't know those characters yet, you don't really care about the world in the beginning. I think it's a good call. Afterplace also features a bevy of accessibility options that let players adjust text scaling, camera shake amount, contrast, and more. There's even an invincibility mode if players are really having trouble with those monsters. It's all part of a strategy to appeal to anyone regardless of their video game history, if they have one at all. Afterplace is very niche, he says. I will actually disagree with Ivan here. I think Afterplace it's niche right now, but I think it has big appeal. I think pretty much anybody can pick up that game and have a lot of fun with it. I really think it's a game that can appeal to a lot of people. I think the reason there's not more people playing it is that it's only on mobile and it's asking for a paid up, an upfront cost to enter the game. You have to pay to play, which is not exactly the most common thing on the App Store. I love it personally. It's my preferred way of monetization. Actually, my preferred way is that you can download the game for free, play for a bit, and then if you want to unlock the full game, pay the one-time fee. But I think that being on mobile with a upfront cost is what makes Afterplace pretty niche. I cannot wait for the game to be available to more people. I think Ivan is sitting on a fantastic game here, and I cannot wait for more people to experience it and know more about it. Anyway, okay. Afterplace is very niche, he says. It's for people who maybe don't play games on mobile. But if it helps bring more people into gaming, I think that's great. It is definitely great, and I do hope that, as I said, more people will pick up the game and experience its fantastic stories and NPCs. And that was the article I wanted to read. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you've learned something. And yeah, even bring this. We want this. We want this into the game. This is great stuff. I want to see more. I see it's E, F, G. What are our A, B, C, D? I want to know now. You've teased us. Come on. I want to see more drawings. But alright. Thanks a bunch for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and talk to you again real soon. Bye bye.